any electrical issues or internet outage issues or satellite issues, etc., or travel issues at the Dallas-Salem Radio Network studio. So we're taping the program up for you right now. The third hour of the broadcast will be Wednesday's show from the Daily Defense. Most of our affiliates around the country have not heard that. Many of you have, the vast majority of you have not. So you'll enjoy that program with my guest, Cam Edwards. So let's get cracking here in the Car Firearms Group studios on a Sunday, taped up for you. I hope you're safe and sound wherever you are, because I know the weather's been impacting a lot of folks. It's getting ready to start impacting us here as well. It started last night, but we'll see what happens during the rest of the day. Joining me right now for, well, I don't know, 2 segments, 3 segments, 4 segments. We'll see as we go along. Paul Markel, student of the gun. Paul, welcome in. How you doing, brother?
Yes, sir. I'm unfamiliar. Did they give the current snowpocalypse a name?
Well, let's have a little fun with that. You remember what happened here in Atlanta area a number of years ago, right? The snowpocalypse is what they call
Sherman?
it. It's not Sherman. No.
Oh, okay. The other thing.
The other thing, the snowpocalypse thing, right? It paralyzed the city of Atlanta. And because we're taping a little bit early, it's a little bit hard for me to tell you what's going to happen. I can't predict the future, but I will tell you this. When you're like me and you're already prepared for the apocalypse, prepping for an ice storm is no big deal. I laugh at people running around buying bread and milk all day long. I'm thinking, you guys should.
Oh, my goodness. It's crazy. My daughter lives in Huntsville, Alabama.
Oh, they're going crazy in Huntsville.
2 days ago, she said to me, Dad, she sent me a picture of an empty milk refrigerator. She went to one of the grocery stores, and she said the only bread left is the super fancy $8 a loaf bread, and the only
such a thing as $8 fancy bread, really, in real life?
Yeah, and for dumb people are crazy.
You can't fix stupid.
And then the super expensive quote organic eggs. Well, my eggs that I raise here are more organic than the ones in the store. But either way, how long have we been playing this game, Mark?
Oh,
I mean, let's go back to Y2K. All right, people who were prepared for Y2K were crazy, and they were right. Well, then that happened, and then not very long after that, we had Hurricane Katrina, which was a big thing, and of course the government. Well, no, before Katrina, there was 9/11. Yeah. 9/11 happened, and the government's like, They whoever it was, FEMA or whatever, they said, everybody needs to have a minimum of 72 hours worth of food, water, medicine, whatever in your house. And everyone's like, well, okay, whatever. And then Katrina happened, and then Hurricane Sandy happened, and then COVID happened, and then
you had everything. You saw what happened in North Carolina just a year ago. Okay, it was an absolute nightmare with the storm that came.
It was terrible.
It was absolutely horrible. What's interesting is I listened to you. I lived in Florida during all those years that you're talking about. So, I mean, we were always prepared. And FEMA does tell you. Oh, yeah. Obama's FEMA told you to be prepared. Everyone should have that at least.
If you're in the South, if you're in Hurricane Alley, which is basically everything on the Gulf Coast, the Gulf of America and the Atlantic coast, 6 months out of the year, you could get a hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
When we lived in Biloxi, we had a hurricane storm locker, basically a food prep, long-term storage food prep locker, right? And we would rotate stuff out. But the idea that there are people that couldn't go 2 or 3 days without a trip to the grocery store in the world that we live in right now is crazy.
I couldn't do it, and I've been prepared. Just Florida, because of the hurricane situation, and then I have fun doing that anyway. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I like collecting that cool stuff. You got the generator, you got all that stuff, but we've got the little phone charge packs, the little water things. I mean, I've got enough food, literally enough food to last my family up to 3 years if necessary. If the crap really hits the fan, Paul. Okay.
Yeah,
and it's good food. It's good food. It's not garbage. It's good food. I mean, we eat it sometimes just because, hey, there's some stroganoff noodles in there. Let me go get them out of the kit. And it's really good, high quality stuff. Guys, I've been telling you for years to pick up the Heaven's Harvest stuff. Do it. I've got tons of this stuff. You just start stacking a little. Look, even if you don't want to do that, Costco sells the kits for like $65 from time to time, and that's enough food to last your family of four for at least to get you through a 3-day stint, which is about what something like this will do. So it is an eye opener, Paul. It really truly is. But it saddens me that people don't take care of that.
Well, the best thing that your listeners that can do is decide that they're not going to be part of the stupidity. So when the morons and mongoloids are fighting each other over, cans of beans or the last jug of milk or whatever, you can just step back and say, you know what, we're not going to Walmart. We're not going to the grocery store. We're going to stay home. Let the dumb people, let them fight over the last case of water. It's like, well, you got to get milk because it goes bad. Dude, you know what's in my deep freeze right now? That UHT long-term, the shelf-stable milk.
Yeah.
If you take shelf-stable milk and put it in your deep freeze, it's good for years.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally years. So,
some people get the 5-gallon water and they think it's going to last forever, and it doesn't. You can buy water that will last literally for years. Now, I've tried it. It tastes kind of aluminous-y, but it's water. It does the trick. It's what you need to brush your teeth, bathe with. Look, guys, stay prepared out there. And then, the weather. Now, I got to tell you this, Paul. I can't stand watching these weather people. The fear-mongering 24/7 news cycle is just crazy.
It's crazy.
They're all day long talking about this stuff. I mean, these guys are just, it
could be.
It's like a physical thrill to them. Let me put it that way. You can use your imagination to determine what I'm talking about.
Anywhere from 1 to 1,000 inches. We don't know.
Yeah. Well, around here, they can't.
They become like a parody of themselves.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Yeah, it's like a Saturday Night Live.
But the bigger message is real. The big message is real, guys. You should always be prepared. It's not hard to do. It really isn't. You don't want to be the people running around. I mean, I went to the grocery store today just to get a thing of orange juice because I figured, you know what, I might want some orange juice if we get locked down for a couple of days. Not because I had to have it. Watching people. It's crazy. And to each his own, I guess. Guys, it's easy to be prepared. One of our great sponsors, Heaven's Harvest, can do it for you. Now's the time you should be talking to them. It's pretty simple. All right, Paul, we have a lot of things to cover with you today, not the least of
yes, sir.
Going on in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We've only got a couple minutes left in this segment, but we'll get started there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as I told you, we're taping the program in advance. And what I want to tell you is I cannot tell you with certainty what we don't know yet a lot of what's happening here. By the time this program airs, we will likely know some more. So we're going to talk with you a little bit a few hours earlier about what we do know. And there is some conflicting information here. We have a Border Patrol agent involved in a shooting, of course, another shooting in Minneapolis. Originally, it was reported that the individual was a U.S. citizen. Border Patrol came out and said that the individual was an illegal immigrant. And they even went as far as mentioning the 3 charges that he had against him. He was armed with a 9mm, and he had 2 additional loaded magazines, and the gun was loaded. Now, here's what I want to tell you. It appears to me that Fox is beginning to walk that back somewhat. I'm not seeing the immigrant statement anymore on the site on Fox News. The chief of police in Minneapolis identified the individual as a 37-year-old white male American citizen with a concealed carry permit. So we're going to start the conversation from there, guys, knowing that we might know more later. So I want to, again, throw that disclaimer out there. This is what we know as we bring you the pre-taped show today because of the weather. Now, Paul, we're getting ready to take our first break. So what we'll do is I'll go ahead and take us to the break. When we come back from the break, we're going to continue the conversation with Paul Markel. Paul doesn't know it yet, but he's going to stay with me for the entire hour. Following Paul Markel, we'll have Dr. John Lott here. Armed American Radio's Monster Cast is underway, a pre-taped edition for you. Because of the weather, we did not want to lose our 17-year run of never missing a show. We'll be back right after this. Don't go away. For over 150 years, the National Rifle Association has defended the freedoms that define America, standing for responsible gun ownership through education, training, and the unwavering right to protect what matters most. But those freedoms are never guaranteed. They must be defended. Join the millions of NRA members who have made the commitment to safeguard our rights now and for future generations. Go to nra.org/AAR to sign up today. Armed American Radio listeners, running out of ammo room at home? I did. Introducing AmmoSquared.com. Ammo Squared helps you stay stocked up on ammunition automatically. It is a truly automated set it and forget it ammo purchasing program. Pick your calibers, set your budget, select a shipping trigger, and that's it. Your ammo grows slowly over time. It's stored for free as it builds up and is shipped with the click of a button or automatically. Your choice. Set up your ammo stockpile, and for more information, visit ammosquared.com today. That's ammosquared.com.
Attention firearms owners, the Attorneys on Retainer program is backed by the Attorneys for Freedom law firm, which is the nation's only law firm exclusively committed to self-defense cases. Along with local counsel, the firm is also accepting private self-defense cases nationwide. Have experienced self-defense attorneys ready to represent you anywhere in the nation. Visit attorneysonretainer.us and use promo code AAR to get $50 off your individual sign-up fee. Don't be unprepared for the fight in the courtroom.
You already know what Daniel Defense has done for the AR-style rifle. Now they've done it for the handgun, taking it to a whole new level. The revolutionary Daniel H9 combines the ergonomics and pointability of a 1911 with the easy shooting and maintenance of a striker-fired pistol. A low bore axis reduces recoil and muzzle flip, giving you faster, more accurate follow-up shots. To view the Daniel Defense Daniel H9, visit DanielDefense.com today. DanielDefense.com. Looking for an easy way to find a great value on your favorite firearm, ammunition, or accessory brands? Then visit BudsGunShop.com. Buds works each day to give you the best price on a huge assortment of America's favorite products. You'll love the daily deal specials and the vast selection of pre-owned guns, offering financing, layaway, and auction options, and partnering with over 64,000 federal firearms licensees to make it convenient for you to get a gun at a great value. BudsGunShop.com, serving over 4.5 million customers, and Buds wants to serve you too. The Second Amendment is under attack. You know that, but did you know you can help protect your gun rights just by using your cell phone? Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. They will always support the Second Amendment, and that's why I am proud to partner with them. They offer dependable nationwide coverage, giving you the same coverage you're used to without funding gun control. A portion of your bill goes to funding your gun rights. Just go to patriotmobile.com/AAR or call 972-PATRIOT. Get free activation when you use the offer code AAR.
Introducing the P9 Nocturne from CZ. Available in full-size 15-round and compact 10-round. This is the third generation of the popular polymer pistol series with the Omega single-action, double-action trigger mechanism. The P9 is optics-ready with enhanced front-cocking serrations, new slide-stop design for easier control, improved ergonomics of ambidextrous decocker and manual safety. For more information and to take one home, visit cz-usa.com today.
When performance counts, there is a confidence that comes from being able to count on something that will never let you down. You can't buy it, but you can build it. And Emerson Knives has been building that confidence in their knives for over 25 years. With an unwavering commitment to excellence and the highest standards of performance, Emerson Knives, owned and operated by the Emerson family, has a rock-solid reputation among the world's elite military and law enforcement agencies and civilians. Made 100% in America. EmersonKnives.com. The following segment of Armed American Radio is proudly being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Help us defend freedom by visiting nra.org/AAR and join today. Welcome back to the show. Armed American Radio's Monster Cat continues here. And I love this because it's a Cal Firearms Group studio, CZ Light, Patriot Mobile Command Center. It's all being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Ladies and gentlemen, join the NRA at nra.org/AAR, nra.org/AAR. You can find the NRA and all of our other great sponsors at armedamericanradio.com. Paul Markel rejoins the broadcast. Paul, we left in that last segment talking a little bit. I threw a little bit of disclaimers out about Minnesota. We don't know everything yet. We, again, are pre-taping the show a few hours in advance. So let's start with what we do know. Let's go under the assumption that the Minneapolis chief of police is correct. And I'm going to throw this out there, and it might be controversial. I don't care if the individual is a U.S. citizen. That's what the Democrats are harping on. That's what Minneapolis police are harping on. Nelson's all over this. Fry is all over this in Minneapolis. How many more people, how many more Americans have to die? Let me tell you something, guys. If you carry a firearm legally in the United States of America, Paul, you know darn good and well that gun is not a magic talisman. You don't drive through bad areas just because you have a gun when you don't have to. Well, I'm going to go over there because I have a gun. Folks, you can't be stupid. Paul, explain something to me. You're former law enforcement. What individual with a CCW permit, let's assume he's a U.S. citizen, and he has no prior record, according to the police in Minnesota, he had, I guess, a traffic ticket, all right? It's tragic that he's dead. However, maybe this is controversial to some folks. It isn't to me. When you start impeding federal law enforcement doing their job at a protest, running your mouth, and you are armed and you are within arm length and begin to agitate law enforcement, I would highly recommend that you start obeying their lawful commands. And if you don't, Paul, take it away.
This waltz and pray and all. The Democrat Party is feeding their stupid minions. They're setting them up to be martyrs. They want them to die. Like we have to be. Let's just clear the deck. We cannot pretend or live in this weird fantasy world where everyone has the right to protest. Okay, yeah, you do. You have the right to protest. You also have the right to do. You have the right to reap that which you sow, and that's what happened in this situation. You cannot. If you have a concealed carry permit and you went to good training, one of the things that they should have taught you was that if you start the problem, you don't get to shoot your way out of it. Okay. For instance, I'm trying to think of the exact legal term. Masa, you could give it right off the top of his head. But essentially, road rage. If you start a road rage incident and the other person pulls a gun and then you shoot them and you say self-defense. No, you can't claim self-defense in an altercation that you initiated. You cannot initiate a problem, a fight, or whatever. Literally, that would be like somebody breaking into your house and you confront them with a gun. They shoot you and kill the homeowner, and after they're arrested, they're like, "Well, he had a gun. He was threatening me with a gun. It was self-defense." No. You don't get to start the problem. You don't get to initiate the problem and then claim victim status. And see, that is the MO of the liberal Democrat Party, is create the problem, and then when you get called on it, claim victim status.
Paul, what person in their right mind, and you're right, I agree with everything you said, what person in their right mind would approach heavily armed law enforcement under volatile conditions, actively serving federal warrants signed by federal judges, removing criminals? Now, I want to talk about the little 5-year-old yesterday as well, too, ladies and gentlemen. I'll go there because as far as I'm concerned, everybody from the editors, the anchors, the head of the network, every one of them should be perp walked for the lies they tell in front of those cameras. We'll go to that in a minute. But what person in their right mind decides to interject themselves while carrying a firearm, lawfully or not, into that ongoing, understanding what could happen based on what you just said? What person does that? And for crying out loud, help me understand this.
Well, the answer is no person in their right mind does. And what they're trying to do is gaslight the normies. You and I and your listening audience, by and large, we know better. You would never do that. Number one, because all of us have jobs. We don't have time to go around standing in the streets. That's part of it. Number two, liberalism is literally a mental disorder. I don't know how many of these Instagram, TikTok clips or whatever you've seen.
They're screaming their heads off.
Lunatics,
They're fun to watch.
Flashing guns, like I'm on, it's and most of them are white women. White liberal women, are just a plague on our country. But flashing guns, talking about killing ICE agents and blah, 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 blah. How
do you expect law enforcement to act? How do you expect them to respond?
Knowing that these people are out there and they've been programmed and ginned up. This is not an accident. And the average person should be furious with the Democrat Party.
I think the average person is, stop for a second, Paul, stop. I think you're right. I think the average person across the country is. Americans are sick and tired of watching this nonsense all day. And ladies and gentlemen, let me make this very clear. It is the violent left that is causing these problems. It is not ICE doing their jobs. It is the violent left response to it, period. The gaslighting is coming from Waltz and Fry and the rest of them, begging Donald Trump to stop this now and get ICE out. The answer to that is no. And I think Trump's made that pretty clear. I think Kristi Noem's made that pretty clear. And those of you who are impeding federal law enforcement, I'm going to just ask you one more time. What do you expect, particularly when your politicians are ginning up trouble and putting ICE agents' lives at risk with their terrible rhetoric and their violent rhetoric? And it's always the violent left, Paul. Always. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not Republicans shooting up softball games. I'm sorry, baseball games. Oh.
Yeah,
I got a nasty email about that. Stop saying softball. It was a baseball practice. I'm like, all right, forgive me. I'll beg forgiveness. I'm like Limbaugh. I'm only right 99.78% of the time. So, the baseball practice. It's not. All of these incidents. It's not white conservative Christian MAGA supporters that are walking into churches and schools and malls and so forth. It never is. And the idea that the American people are so stupid as to fall for this is really insulting.
It is insulting. We're getting
really is.
It is. When we come back, I want to look at this from a different perspective. I'm going to look at this and approach it from the fact that the officer was wrong. Let's look at it through the other lens. We'll be back with Paul Markel, student of the gun, right after this. Don't go away.
6 Sauer is the manufacturer of the game-changing P365 high-capacity micro-compact. This revolutionary new concealed carry pistol gives you more capacity, concealability, and capability. The award-winning 6 Sauer P365 redefines the category and has become the most desired handgun on the market today. Holding up to 17+1 rounds, its ergonomic design makes it more shootable with a clean, crisp trigger pull you'd expect from 6 Sauer. The SIG P365, America's #1 selling handgun for a reason. Visit SigSauer.com.
For 50 years, the NRA Institute for Legislative Action has served as the voice for NRA members and gun owners in every significant political, legislative, and legal fight defending our right to keep and bear arms. Stay informed about efforts by anti-gun politicians to restrict your freedoms both nationally and in your state by visiting nraila.org. There, you can sign up to receive email alerts, volunteer, and much more. Visit nraila.org today. Americans have had enough of supporting companies that hate our values. Tired of compromise? It's time to switch to Patriot Mobile, America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. They are an example of putting the cause ahead of profits, and that's why I am proud to partner with them. Patriot Mobile offers dependable nationwide coverage, giving you access to all 3 major networks, which means you get the same coverage you've been accustomed to without funding the left. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you support the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the sanctity of life, and our military, veterans, and first responder heroes. Their 100% U.S.-based customer service team makes switching easy. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Their team will help you find the best plan for your needs. Just go to patriotmobile.com/AAR or call 972-PATRIOT. Get free activation when you use the offer code AAR. Join us. Make the switch today. patriotmobile.com/AAR. patriotmobile.com/AAR. That's patriotmobile.com/AAR or call 972-PATRIOT.
It's the Bill of Rights, not the Bill of Needs. I'm Alan Gottlieb, founder of the Second Amendment Foundation. When someone says we don't need that kind of gun, remind them the Founding Fathers determined what rights our Constitution should protect. There's a world of difference between rights and needs. It is not the function of government to tell us what we need or what we don't. Certainly no one needs an assault rifle or a Saturday Night Special, or for that matter, no one needs a Corvette with a high-capacity horsepower engine capable of speeds to 150 miles per hour. But in the hands of honest, responsible individuals, we have the right of choice. We have the right to read books others don't like. We have the right to listen to any radio program we choose. We have the right to dress the way we want to. We also have the right to own firearms of our choice. So the next time someone tells you, you don't need something, tell them it's the Bill of Rights, not the Bill of Needs. Join the Second Amendment Foundation today so that this message and our Bill of Rights might live. Call 425-454-7012. That's 425-454-7012.
For over 150 years, the National Rifle Association has defended the freedoms that define America, standing for responsible gun ownership through education, training, and the unwavering right to protect what matters most. But those freedoms are never guaranteed. They must be defended. Join the millions of NRA members who have made the commitment to safeguard our rights now and for future generations. Go to nra.org/AAR to sign up today.
At Daniel Defense, we do things a little differently. First of all, every one of our products from top to bottom is made right here in America with pride. So much pride, in fact, that we don't sell factory seconds. No, if we make a mistake, we scrap it and start over. We're not finished until it's made right. And that commitment to quality doesn't end once a product is out the door. Whether you're the first owner or the last, if anything goes wrong with your Daniel, we'll make it right, because that's the right thing to do. Daniel Defense. Freedom, passion, precision.
This segment of Armed American Radio is proudly being brought to you by Blackout Coffee. Visit them at blackoutcoffee.com/AAR. Grab that discount and free shipping. Welcome back to the show. Armed American Radio's Monstercast here in the Car Firearms Group studios, the big Sunday edition, the Storm edition. Is it bad where you are? I hope you're safe. Don't get out on the roads if it's nasty. You know better than that. Guys, we're here on front of the CZ mic for you here. The studio is lit up. It's cold out. It's kind of fun doing the show a little bit early for you. I don't like to do that on the Sunday program, but I had an option. It was, well, take a chance in a few hours and find out that we can't do the live show and have nothing, and then break that 17-year streak of never missing a Sunday broadcast, or tape the show for you. So here we are. It's all brought to you by the National Rifle Association, Armed American Radio Studios, the Car Firearms Group studios are lit up, CZ Mike, Patriot Mobile. Guys, we're going to go back to Paul Markel, student of the gun, for a pre-tape show. Paul, I want to look at this as I close out the last segment from a different perspective. Let's look at this from a different lens. Let's assume that the Border Patrol agent was wrong. Let's assume And you know, an investigation may find that out. Maybe a federal investigation finds that out. I know what the liberals will want to say and what they'll want to do and what liberal judges will do and what liberal politicians in Minnesota will say and what all the liberals in the streets, instead of being at home, will say. But let's assume they're all right. And this cop was overzealous, violated the law, and is found to have violated the law, gets charged, and winds up going to prison. Does that bring the dead guy back?
I would hope that they would treat that ICE agent the same way that they treated their sainted, whatever his name is, Muhammad bin Jihad, the first Somali Minneapolis police officer that gunned down an innocent woman, the woman who actually called 911 for help. And remember when that poor woman was murdered by that Minneapolis police officer? I remember the outcry by the liberal left.
I don't remember that case. Educate us.
You don't? Seriously?
No, I don't. I don't.
Okay. Minneapolis PD made a big deal about the first Somali-born Minneapolis police officer, and he was, by all standards, a horrible police officer. Had been counseled numerous times. And then what was her name? I can't remember her name off the top of my head.
I'm no help.
But she was a white woman who called. I'm sure your audience is screaming right now. Justine was her name. She dialed 911. They roll up, and Officer Mohammed Jihad pulls out his gun as she's approaching their vehicle to like say, "Hi, I'm the," she was the victim. She was the one who called. Mm-hmm. Shoots her across his partner's chest through the open window, killing her. Went to jail, was released from jail. Okay. And the reason, and none of the liberals didn't care. Liberals they didn't talk about it because it didn't fit the narrative.
Yeah. Well,
they had this wonderful Somali. Oh, it was so great. The DEI, it was off the charts by putting this. Here, I'll send it to you. I got the story right here. Her name was Justine Damon, and she was shot to death in 2017 by what the heck was his name? I don't know. Mohammed bin Jihad or whatever. I'm sure that he probably had like a 67 IQ. But they didn't care. The left didn't care because it didn't support their narrative.
Yeah, well, it's always about the narrative with these guys.
So don't tell me, don't give me some song and dance about how, this is horrible. And then, of course, the Minneapolis, they scrambled to try and cover it up.
Well, I want to go to the point where let's just assume, let's just make this assumption that the officer is wrong, that an investigation finds it, that he goes to trial and he gets convicted. Let's just assume that they're right about that. If individual one wasn't there to begin with a gun, and I've seen the video, up in there protesting, in their face, they're all screaming, they're all yelling, they're being sprayed with all this stuff. Guys, if you're putting yourself in that position, you can expect bad things to happen. And guess what? Maybe even an overzealous cop who's scared to death because of what you've been putting them through and the rhetoric from your politicians, that he does overreact or she overreacts. Does that bring you back to your family? Are you happy being martyred?
No, but they don't care.
They don't
That's
care.
The thing
they just want to blame the officer, and it just gives them more to push.
The Democrat Party is 100% responsible for the deaths of these people. And they'll never accept responsibility because they don't.
Well, they won't have to, and the media won't hold them. The media won't hold them.
No, they won't be held accountable. The whole entire MO, their method of operation, their modus operandi, is to create problems and then dodge responsibility.
To blame Trump.
I mean that's
the ultimate.
I mean that's being a liberal. Being a liberal means never having to say you're sorry. Being a liberal means never having to admit that you were wrong. It means never having to take responsibility for your own behavior.
I can't imagine. I've got a 21-year-old son that carries religiously every day. I can't imagine my son saying, "Dad, I'm going to strap up and go down to the ICE protest and get in law enforcement's face." Because that's what we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen. Under what circumstances is that ever a good idea, Paul? Ever?
Well, and I know we're running short on time right now, but something that we need to understand is that you cannot draw moral equivalencies. They're like, well, how is this different than January 6th? Nobody on our side threatened law enforcement on January 6th. No, I mean, they showed up unarmed on purpose. All of our side all showed up unarmed on purpose. And I think
that's not the narrative from the left, right? But it's true.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But they did. And then the only person killed was an unarmed woman who was, and that's funny, how the left, they were just adamant about how that D.C. police officer, the Capitol Hill police officer, was a hero. Remember they interviewed him?
Yeah.
Oh, they had him like on a 60 Minutes interview, and they let him tell his story, and he was brave and courageous and blah, 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 blah. It's like for shooting that little unarmed white woman because he was in fear for his life.
Yeah, I forget the other officer's name. He was just in front of the hearings and caused a ruckus at the Capitol just a couple days ago. You know, there's a lot going on with that we don't have time to go into. That's for sure. But the bigger picture here, ladies and gentlemen, is under what circumstances, as a lawfully armed citizen, do you put yourself into a situation that you know is volatile, that you know can explode, that you're going to be right smack in the middle of and carrying a firearm? Because let me tell you something, Paul, you know this more than anybody here. Cop sees a gun, cop's going to react accordingly, period, particularly under circumstances like this. Ladies and gentlemen, it's just bad advice. Okay. I can't imagine ever telling somebody, hey guys, you need to strap up and go to those protests. That's, Paul, not a good thing, is it?
Let's be honest. It's not a protest. It's
it's a riot.
Interference.
It's interference
with law enforcement officers. They're committing a crime. This is not First Amendment, the exercise of grievances. This is a trying to deliberately impede law enforcement officers in the engagement of their duties.
Yeah, and that interference is
against the law in Minneapolis.
Yeah, it's against the law everywhere. I have the hardest time wrapping my head around. We talked about this on the Daily Defense, and I think you and I talked about it about a week earlier. I just have the hardest time wrapping my brain cells around an individual that would show up at what they believe is a protest to get in law enforcement's face and expect anything good to come of that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to take a break. When we come back, Paul Markel, one more segment. Don't go away. This segment is brought to you by Attorneys on Retainer. Get the only self-defense program for gun owners backed by a real law firm, the Attorneys for Freedom. Visit them online at attorneysonretainer.us. Welcome back. Armed American Radio's Monstercast continues. Buckle in, you know the routine. We are taping the show because of weather situation, as I mentioned before. I want to keep letting you know that we are, in fact, not live with you tonight, but we are pre-taped a few hours in advance. And we did that for Greg to make sure that he stayed safe and everybody at the network, et cetera, because we can't predict the future, sadly. I wish I could. I'd have more money in my portfolio if I could predict the future. Car Firearms Group Studios lit up for you. CZ mic fired up. On-air lights are flashing here in the studio. And I believe we're still live for you on X and everywhere else. You're not getting video, but you're getting audio. Thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate that very much. We would appreciate it if you would support all of our great partners that make the show possible every day. Attorneysonretainer.us is the real deal, ladies and gentlemen. If you carry a firearm, you know bad things can happen. That's why you carry a firearm. And if you have to use that firearm, God forbid, have to discharge it, even if you don't have to discharge it, even if you show it in defense of yourself, you will be investigated and you are not entitled to an attorney during the investigation process, period. Only if you are charged. And by then, it's too flippin' late. $37 a month. Use the AAR promo code attorneysonretainer.us/AAR. It's a beautiful site. Watch the videos, read it, pay attention to it, and order it. If you have to go to trial, 4 attorneys will be there to defend you. If you wait, it's too late. You'll likely wind up bankrupting yourself. Attorneysonretainer.us/AAR. It is not necessary to put yourself through that. Please visit them and all of our great partners, including Crossbreed Holsters, Car Arms, CZ. You can find them all, every single one of them. BudsGunShop.com and the National Rifle Association, Heaven's Harvest, Patriots Relief. They're all there. Barrel Buddy, they're all there for you at ArmedAmericanRadio.com. Paul, let's go now to let me throw this takeaway out there. Guys, do not inject yourself into ongoing armed law enforcement. Okay? Don't. And if you're lawfully carrying a firearm, you should know better. In fact, the rest of us that carry expect you to know better because you give us all a bad name and a bad rap. It doesn't have to happen. This individual should not have been there. I don't care if it's the cop's fault or if it's not the cop's fault, it's his fault. It doesn't matter. Nothing brings him back. That's simple. Be smart about things. Paul, as far as you know, my utter hatred and disdain of the media in America, I did something I don't generally do. A couple of days ago, I was watching ABC, NBC, so we can all CBS. I watched all the 3 major networks. David Muir at ABC News infuriated me, not just me, but millions of Americans across the country, with the fake ABC News coverage of the 5-year-old who, the left narrative, was kidnapped by ICE, when we find out that is not the case. The father, who was wanted by ICE here illegally, criminal convictions, took off and left his son standing in freezing cold weather. ICE took custody of the kid, tried to get him home, couldn't, nobody would answer the door. They cared for the kid until they caught the father and reunited with him. Now, ABC News, NBC News, CBS, they knew this. David Muir looked right into that camera and lied to millions of Americans. Now, look, guys, if you're still getting your news from those fake legacy media outlets, I don't know what to tell you. But you've been being lied to for decades. You ought to know better than that at this stage of the game. As far as I'm concerned, Paul, the head of the network on down, all the way to him and the editors, should be perp-walked when they knowingly, willfully lie to the American public like this. I've just had enough of the coverage, and I can't wait till the day comes that those networks are done. As far as I'm concerned, I'm having to be FCC friendly here, Paul, but none of them should have an FCC license at this stage of the game to continue to spew these lies.
You're absolutely right. And I think that I pray that we're coming to a time in our nation where you can only cry wolf so many times. But the fact is they have the money. You know, they're funded to the tune of billions of dollars by people like Pfizer. Let's face facts. Their advertisers are invested in keeping them afloat because they're the propaganda machine. They are the Democrat Party's propaganda machine, and
still very effective. Yeah, they're still very effective. I do want to point this out, and a lot of Americans don't know this. But the vast majority of Americans, believe it or not, still get their news from the legacy media networks. That is an astonishing, but it's a fact. It's changing rapidly. They're losing viewership like crazy. But guys, if you're sitting down and watching David Muir, these fake anchors with their fake voices giving you fake news all day long, and the 3 networks that day were, the coverage was unbelievable. Every bit of it was a lie. Paul?
Well, the only way, it's not going to stop until people are held responsible for their behavior. And like we said at the very beginning, that's not what the Democrat Party is about. No one is, except the only people that are like responsible for their own behavior are like white conservative Christian Republicans. That's it. They're responsible for their behavior, but everyone else, no one else is. And until the people, everybody out there listening, until the people start holding them responsible for their behavior, it's like we talked about. We still pay to see their movies. Mm-hmm. We watch their television programs. I mean, Lord in heaven, there's still people going to watch the Super Bowl. I think it didn't happen yet. It's going to happen or whatever. I stopped watching 14, 15 years ago.
I gave up the NFL years ago. I've never looked back.
That propaganda machine is still going strong, and there are still people that are mentally weak and make excuses. They're like, it's not hurting anyone for me to watch the Super Bowl. No. First of all, it is. It's hurting you. This is making your brain weaker. And number 2, these people will never, ever, ever change their despicable behavior until they're held accountable.
Well, and the best way in a capital, turn it off.
Yeah, take their money away.
Turn it off.
Take their money away. As soon as their ratings go into the toilet, they'll stop.
It's interesting. A lot of their ratings are in the toilet, yet they keep it up. That's what's astonishing to me. The bubble that they're in.
I think it was one of those.
Go ahead.
It was one of those one of them liberal left-wing homosexual magazines or something, but they were bemoaning that the new 2026 show calendar was going to have fewer homosexual and transgender characters.
That's not the case if you're watching Netflix. You can't watch an TV series or Netflix series.
It was a whole story about how Derp has reduced the number of homosexual transgender characters. Now, if what they're saying is true, there's a reason for that. Because people are finally getting sick of their garbage, their filth.
Yeah, the Democrat Party has aligned itself with less than 1% to 2% of the population. It's not going to bode well for them in the future. That much is not going to age well for them. Paul, it's crazy.
That's why they need these illegal invaders.
Well, yeah, and that's why they want them there. That's why they're protecting.
They're using them.
That's absolutely correct.
They're using them to get House seats.
Paul, we're getting ready to end it. I hate to do it to you, but we're already at the end of the hour, brother. We're gonna talk about it Friday anyway. Where can people find you, real quick?
SOTGU.com, Student Gun University.
Thank you for being here for the taped discussion on Armed American Radio Sponsorcast today, Paul. We appreciate it very much. We love you. SOTGU.com, ladies and gentlemen. Hour 2 coming up 6 minutes after the hour. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
You just filled your prescription for freedom with Mark Walters, presented by the National Rifle Association. The National Rifle Association on the Armed American Radio Network.
It's the Bill of Rights, not the Bill of Needs. I'm Alan Gottlieb, founder of the Second Amendment Foundation. When someone says we don't need that kind of gun, remind them the Founding Fathers determined what rights our Constitution should protect. There's a world of difference between rights and needs. It is not the function of government to tell us what we need or what we don't. Certainly no one needs an assault rifle or a Saturday night special, or for that matter, no one needs a Corvette with a high-capacity horsepower engine capable of speeds to 150 miles per hour. But in the hands of honest, responsible individuals, we have the right of choice. We have the right to read books others don't like. We have the right to listen to any radio program we choose. We have the right to dress the way we want to. We also have the right to own firearms of our choice. So the next time someone tells you, you don't need something, tell them it's the Bill of Rights, not the Bill of Needs. Join the Second Amendment Foundation today so this message and our Bill of Rights might live. Call 425-454-7012. That's 425-454-7012.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm excited to announce my new product, My Slippers. It took me over 2 years to develop because I didn't want just an ordinary slipper. My slippers are meant to be worn all day long, no matter what you're doing, whether you're inside or outside. My slippers come with an exclusive 3-tier cushioning system that you won't find in any other slipper. It combines 2 layers of foam, including my proprietary My Pillow foam and a patented impact shell made from U.S. soybeans. My 3-tier cushioning system is going to help relieve pressure points, provide that micro support you need for all-day comfort, and help prevent fatigue. Not only that, my slippers are made with high-quality leather and a premium indoor-outdoor sole that make them extremely durable. I personally guarantee they're going to be the most comfortable slippers you'll ever own.
Hey, it's Mike. Mike's the principal right to keeping their arms and we support Mike. Please visit MikeRoad.com and click on the radio listing specials box and use promo code AAR for all of Mike's great discounts. Or call 800-978-9358 and remember, use promo code AAR.
to inclement weather, enjoy this episode of Armed American Radio's Daily Defense with Cam Edwards.
This is Armed American Radio's Daily Defense.
Armed American Radio's Daily Defense, because they don't want me to, that's why I do it.
Presented by the National Rifle Association from the CZ Studios.
They're never going to stop us here.
Here is your host, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting the enemies of freedom, Mark Walters.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense begins right now here in the CZ Studios. Mark Walters filling you a prescription for freedom every single day in front of the Patriot Mobile Communication and Command Center microphone at the Patriot Mobile Ranch. Of course, it's all brought to you, as you just heard in the intro, by the National Rifle Association. Greg in Dallas, Texas, how you doing today, my brother?
Well, not too bad. Here we are. It's Wednesday, top of the hill.
We're gearing up for some gnarly weather coming up here in the next few days. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's going to get bad here, supposedly.
Yeah, Costco's are packed. Grocery store shelves are being depleted. Everybody's buying their bread and their milk.
And toilet paper.
And toilet paper, yeah. I guess that's a necessity, right?
I mean, it's not like you don't buy like a multi-pack when you go buy.
You do buy a multi-pack, but...
And how much do you plan on needing toilet paper for a couple of days?
Yeah, well, I guess we're fixing to find out, because it's coming.
Is it going to live? That's why you need all the toilet.
Hold on, let me take a sip of my Celsius beverage.
Oh, we're off the rails already.
Oh, good heavens, and spit it out of my face. Good heavens. Yeah, well, all right. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, we're live on Facebook for you today. Facebook.com/Armed American Radio. Greg's going to tell you where else you can watch the broadcast today. And then we will go to our guest, Cam Edwards. It promises to be a very power-packed and, let's just say, enlightening hour. Go for it, Greg.
Sure, other places to watch the show are going to be YouTube. Just do a search for Armed American Radio with Mark Walters. You can also head over to armedamericanradio.org or .com, hit that menu icon, then select your watch live or listen live option. You can also watch us on X at AARMark. And lastly, if you'd like to join our live chat, just download Telegram, create your profile, and search for Armed American Radio Conversations.
That'll do it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go right to Cam Edwards, bearingarms.com, Cam and Company. He's in the car heading out to, I guess he's going to one of those big box store, Costco stores. How you doing, brother? Hey, you guys are right in the middle of that line.
Oh, man. It's ridiculous. So yesterday's forecast was like 20 inches of snow. That was bad enough. Now it's like 14 inches of snow with maybe a half inch of ice. So yeah, I'm doing a little bit of my last bit of storm prep. I started doing this a couple of days ago. And by the way, Mark, 80 rolls at a time in the Edwards household. That's how we roll.
Well, guys, I got to be fair here because Cam lives out in the country, okay? And a trip to Costco requires him. He's going to be he's driving to Costco while he's live on the air with me today. So it's not right next door. So Cam, I appreciate it, man. I know what you're going through up there. So we had fun on Cam and Company today. Let's start there because this will likely be somewhat of a repeat of that conversation. We'll throw a couple other topics into the mix here. But nonetheless, you've got your hands full there in Virginia. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about Rally Day. But let's start with this. The Supreme Court refused. We'll go to the Hawaii case as well, obviously. But the Supreme Court refused to hear about, 3 cases regarding felons' restoration of gun rights, didn't they?
Yeah, they denied cert, and it was actually more than 3. I think it was close to a dozen. These were all, for the most part, these were all 922 G1 challenges, right? So that's the ban on gun ownership for anybody convicted of a crime punishable by more than a year in prison. I'm somewhat surprised that they turned away all of those cases, but they did keep a hold of one, Mark, and it's Vincent versus Bondi. Melinda Vincent is the plaintiff's name. She, I think it was 17 years ago, wrote a bad check to buy groceries. She was a homeless drug addict at the time. Since then, she has turned her life around. She's now actually a drug and alcohol counselor, works with the state of Utah. She wants a firearm for self-defense. She would like to be able to teach her kids how to be safe and responsible gun owners, but because of this prohibition, she can't. I think it's interesting that the Supreme Court did not deny cert. They didn't grant cert. They just sort of held on to that case, right? I think there's a lot of speculation that, the Justice Department has proposed this process by which individuals can apply to have their rights restored. And the Solicitor General has been arguing to the Supreme Court, hey, you don't need to take these cases because that avenue is available to these individuals. So just let them, wait for this rule to go into effect. They can apply to have their rights restored. I don't know if the court has just decided to agree with G. Don Sauer's position, or if there's something, larger at work here where maybe Melinda Vincent's case will be remanded back down after Hamani's decided that's the case dealing with unlawful use of drugs. But I'm not surprised the court turned away these cases. I'm actually kind of surprised they held on to one of them.
Yeah, what's interesting, obviously something's in play, Cam, or they would have turned that down too. We just don't know what it is because we're not privy to what happens behind closed doors in conference. But if they, I tend to believe that clearly they want to look a little bit harder at this. And I think it might be her circumstances. It might be a little bit different. There's no violence involved here. Being a homeless drug addict, never a good combination, okay? But should that bar you for life from owning a firearm? Because we're not talking about violent felony. We're not talking about somebody that kneecapped somebody with a pistol or whacked them with a pipe, all right, during the commission of an armed robbery. We're talking about a homeless drug addict who was convicted of a felony that was nonviolent, who absolutely should have her rights restored. Now, it's interesting, though, because, the DOJ, as you and I have talked about before, as you just mentioned, has opened up that avenue now. And that would make me on the surface think, well, then they would have punted that case because that's why they would have punted it with it. But there's something else in play, or they would have done that, right?
I think so. Like I said, I think the key there is we don't know what's discussed behind closed doors. So, what it is that made them hang on to that case, at least for another week. I mean, listen, who knows? They could come out on their next orders list and Vincent's denied, right? We just don't really know. But I've got to think that, there's at least some consideration among the justices about, okay, well, are there special circumstances here? Does this warrant further review? Should we just hold on to this particular case? She wasn't the only case that had a nonviolent felony. Zerka versus Bondi, I think, was a case where I think his name is Salim Zika, was convicted of some type of fraud. But again, another nonviolent offense. I don't know if the facts of that case just weren't as compelling for the court, but it's worth. I mean, it's worth pondering, and I don't know when we're gonna figure out what the court's doing here. But I guess, like I said, it could be as early as next week if they deny cert. Could be 5 months from now when they issue their opinion in Hamani.
Yeah, guys, we'll know if they're going to take it next Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We'll know. They're either going to punt it or they're going to keep it under review for conference yet again. I would like to believe in this case. I think I might maybe I'm right. I have a theory here. It could be possible that Ketanji Brown is the one holding this up and wants to review this again because she's looking. Well, no, that wouldn't make sense because Democrats can't define what a woman is. So I back off on that. I think I'm wrong on my assessment there. We could have some fun with that. But good heavens, with let's segue over to Hawaii. You and I talked about it today in great detail because they did hear oral arguments in the Hawaii case. That's the vampire rule. And I will admit this. I could never make the correlation. I guess I'm not a Bram Stoker fan. Stoker fan. There you go. See, I don't even know his name. That's Freudian slip, ladies and gentlemen. But the fact of the matter is I wasn't really clear on why they referred to it as that because I didn't know the history of vampires that they had to ask permission and all that stuff. Anyway, we cleared that up yesterday. But this case, like you and I talked about on Cam and Company today, was slam dunk material. But was it? And I'll give my same prediction that I gave to you on Cam and Company today on the air because I think the outcome of the case might be different than others think about it. Or not the outcome, but well, maybe. We'll see. But your thoughts on Hawaii? You watched it. You read it. And you read it in detail. What do you think?
Yeah, so I think we're looking at a 6-3 decision, striking down the vampire rule. You talk about Justice Jackson. I mean, he was intent in arguing that this was not even a Second Amendment case. This was just a case of basic property rights. And Chief Justice Roberts kind of pointed out, no, that's not the case. We're not talking about the ability of a private property owner to ban firearms from the premises, right? That's unquestioned. The question is whether the state can make that decision for the private property owner and force the property owner to expressly allow concealed carry, to especially allow a constitutionally protected practice, right? And then Sotomayor kept talking about, well, doesn't Hawaii have the cultural tradition of banning firearms? So why should we take that cultural tradition into account here? Alan Beck, representing the plaintiffs, I think, pointed out on multiple occasions, the Supreme Court test is a national tradition. It's not a cultural tradition. It's not a regional tradition, not the tradition of one state. It's the national tradition. And Brett Kavanaugh kind of buttressed that by talking about that being deep-rooted. Right?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you another take on that as well, because the state used that historical tradition, or tried to use Bruin's historical tradition in their argument. We'll talk more about it with Cam Edwards from BearingArms.com and Cam and Company. Don't go away. We'll be back right after the break. Armed American Radio listeners, you already know the name. It's Blackout Coffee. This is bold, unapologetic, America First coffee roasted fresh right here in the USA, and we've got a promo code for you. We'll get to that in a second. This isn't grocery store junk. Blackout Coffee delivers rich, high-quality roasts that actually taste like freedom, and now you can set it and forget it with auto refill and recurring delivery. That means no more running out, no more watered-down backups, just your favorite roast delivered fresh on your schedule. Pick your favorite roast and how often you want it delivered. Not only will you get a discount, but you'll also get double the rewards and free shipping right to your doorstep. Here's what to do. Visit blackoutcoffee.com/AAR. That's blackoutcoffee.com/AAR. Grab some coffee and it'll deliver right to your door, fresh and free. Whether you're into bold dark roast, flavored coffee, or even instant, Blackout Coffee's got your back. It's real coffee, no compromise. Blackoutcoffee.com/AAR. Get yours now. Enjoy.
Attention firearms owners, the Attorneys on Retainer program is backed by the Attorneys for Freedom law firm, which is the nation's only law firm exclusively committed to self-defense cases. Along with local counsel, the firm is also accepting private self-defense cases nationwide. Have experienced self-defense attorneys ready to represent you anywhere in the nation. Visit attorneysonretainer.us and use promo code AAR to get $50 off your individual sign-up fee. Don't be unprepared for the fight in the courtroom.
The revolutionary Crossbreed Super Tuck holster is the most comfortable and concealable inside the waistband holster you'll ever wear, and nothing even comes close. Designed to completely conceal a firearm of any size and made to be worn with any attire, from shorts and a t-shirt to a suit and a tie. Based on your personal carry style, the Super Tuck may be worn comfortably with or without your shirt tucked in. Find out why the Crossbreed Super Tuck is the most often imitated but never duplicated holster design in the world. Visit crossbreedholsters.com today.
Patriots, listen up. If you're counting on the mainstream media to tell the truth about your gun rights, you're already losing. That's why I go daily to AmmoLand News, America's oldest Second Amendment news outlet. AmmoLand gives you the stories, the facts, and the real news the gun banners and freedom haters don't want you to know. Don't wait to get informed. Bookmark AmmoLand.com right now. That's AmmoLand.com, where freedom-loving Americans stay informed and in the fight. AmmoLand.com. Visit them today at AmmoLand.com. AmmoLand.com. Looking for an easy way to find a great value on your favorite firearm, ammunition, or accessory brands? Then visit BudsGunShop.com. Buds works each day to give you the best price on a huge assortment of America's favorite products. You'll love the daily deal specials and the vast selection of pre-owned guns, offering financing, layaway, and auction options, and partnering with over 64,000 federal firearms licensees to make it convenient for you to get a gun at a great value. BudsGunShop.com, serving over 4.5 million customers, and Buds wants to serve you too. Introducing the P9 Nocturne from CZ, available in full-size 19-round and compact 15-round. This is the third generation of the popular polymer pistol series with the Omega single-action, double-action trigger mechanism. With its textured pattern for improved traction, the P9 is optics-ready with enhanced front cocking serrations, a slide stop designed for easier control, and improved ergonomics of ambidextrous decocker and manual safety. For more information and to take one home, visit czfirearms.com today. For 50 years, the NRA Institute for Legislative Action has served as the voice for NRA members and gun owners in every significant political, legislative, and legal fight defending our right to keep and bear arms. Stay informed about efforts by anti-gun politicians to restrict your freedoms both nationally and in your state by visiting nraila.org. There, you can sign up to receive email alerts, volunteer, and much more. Visit nraila.org today.
The following segment of Armed American Radio is proudly brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Help us defend freedom by visiting nra.org/AAR and join today. Welcome back to the show.
Indeed, welcome back. National Rifle Association presenting the broadcast every single day, 6 days a week, ladies and gentlemen. Please help us at the National Rifle Association. We need you to join the NRA and get in this fight. The water is warm. We have to have you in this fight. If you live behind the blue wall, it is absolutely imperative that you join us and help us. We need the assistance. We've got to get the NRA back to where it was, and we're getting close. We're getting close, and many of you have, and I appreciate that very, very much. It's National Rifle Association, NRA.org/AAR, NRA.org/AAR, and take advantage of those discounts over there. If you happen to be tuning in out in Vegas, and many of you are, make sure to stop by the National Rifle Association booth. They've got a lot of really cool things going on out in Vegas at the Shooting, Hunting, and Outdoor Trade Show this year. You can find them and all of our great partners in one simple portal, armedamericanradio.com or .org. Take your pick. We got them both covered for you. And click on all of them and support all of our great partners. Let's get back to Cam Edwards on the phone. Cam, welcome back in, brother. Thank you for being here. I know how busy you are today, and I appreciate it. I also appreciated being on Cam and Company with you today. Look, I'm going to give it's always fun. I'm going to give it a little bit. It's not a different take. I just want to throw a couple things out. I got to thinking about this during the break. You know, the Supreme Court post-Bruin, particularly the last two sessions, has had, I've lost count of how many Second Amendment cases have come before the court in conference. The biggest one, of course, being a quote-unquote, using their words, an assault weapons ban case. Could it be possible that they just didn't feel these cases, based on what the DOJ has said, by creating an avenue for people that they wouldn't want to waste their time, and they keep the other one open right now because they just don't, they want to take a closer look? Obviously, that's something in play. But could it be because they know they're going to be taking another huge case and they don't want to pack the docket with too many 2A cases when they could this be a sign that they're going to be taking one of the assault weapons cases sooner rather than later?
Well, I should hope so. They did hold on to, so you've got Duncan versus Bonner, that's a magazine ban case. You've got Montes versus Cook County, which is a ban on so-called assault weapons. They held on to both of those cases. They discussed in conference last week. They did not deny cert, which is good, by the way, because if they deny cert in Duncan, that means that California's mag ban goes into effect in its entirety, and existing magazine owners will not be allowed to possess them. So I'm hoping that the Supreme Court keeps these cases until they take a hardware case. What case that might be, you've got challenge to Connecticut's ban on so-called assault weapons and large-capacity magazines, right? So that's coming up in conference, I believe, later this month. And then you've got the Seventh Circuit and the Third Circuit cases. We're still waiting on the opinions from those courts, but those cases likely to be appealed to the Supreme Court. So, they've got any number of vehicles that they can use. Clearly, we're not going to hear one this term, right? I mean, if they granted cert on Monday, I think now the way the calendar works, oral arguments would probably be held in the fall. But I hope that you're right, that is one of the factors in them either, putting a lot of these cases on ice or denying cert altogether. There are a number of outstanding issues, right? You've got 5 cases dealing with the Second Amendment rights of adults under the age of 21 that the Supreme Court has held on to for several months now. And it's likely that, at least some of these cases, they're hanging on after the decision in Wolford comes out, after the decision in Hamani comes out. They'll GBR some of these cases. They'll send them back down to the lower courts and say, do it over and take into account what we just said here. But, I don't know why they wouldn't do that for all of those G1 cases, or at least more than Melinda Vincent's, right? Again, it's just really tough to decipher, and it's been tough to decipher what this court is doing on Second Amendment issues. They waited 8 years to take a case between, 12 years between McDonald and Bruin, right? And then they take 2 cases this term. I think they're more open to addressing Second Amendment cases than we saw, a decade ago. But they have so far been, no pun intended, gun shy about dealing with some of the most significant issues that I think gun owners are facing right now. And that's, again, banning the most popular rifle in the country, banning commonly owned arms, and states saying that they can do that without violating our rights.
And there's a number of factors in play. They could combine these. There's a lot of outcomes here, ladies and gentlemen. You could combine a hardware ban, along with like the Connecticut case. There's a lot in play. But we all know, and I have to say, they did just that with the GVR, with the Fourth Circuit case, and it didn't turn out too well when they refused to grant cert in that case, which we had lengthy conversations about. So, guys, there's just no way to know. The best we can do is come at it from an educated viewpoint because we follow these things for so many years and try to decipher what they're up to. That's the best we can ever do. Now, Kavanaugh gave us a hint because, well, it wasn't a hint. He basically told us we're going to take one of these cases in the next 2 sessions. And you're right. The way the calendar works, even if they were to grant cert, it's not going to be heard this session. It is likely going to be heard next session, ladies and gentlemen. We have to get one. I expect that they'll take one before this session ends and then bring it up in the next session, which means we won't get a response on anything this summer. It'll be the following summer in 2027. But there's a lot happening. Now, I want to go back to Hawaii briefly, and I've got some viewer questions about Virginia, which is the topic we were going to discuss anyway. Hawaii, now, you and I differ on this. You believe the outcome of the case is likely going to be 6-3, correct?
I do.
I think you're right about that, but I want to stay an eternal optimist. And based on some of the lines of questioning, I will not be shocked, but I will. I won't, but I will, but I will, but I won't. You know where I'm going with that. I think it's possible that Kagan and Sotomayor, because of the courts just being loath to overturn their own precedent, which is very clear, dating back to Heller, McDonald, and in particular regarding Hawaii, the Bruin case, which this is resting on. Well, really more so Bruin and Heller combined, not as much McDonald. But I think it's possible that if you put their line of questioning aside, that they may side with the court's precedent. Ketanji Brown is a lost cause. I wouldn't be shocked to see 8-1. I really wouldn't. If it happened, I wouldn't be shocked. I'm not saying I'm going to put money on it in Vegas, Cam, but it wouldn't shock me.
It would shock me. 8-1 would shock me. 7-2 would surprise me, and I think it's more likely that Elena Kagan would join the majority than Sotomayor. I don't know. I get the feeling that we may actually see 2 dissents. Let's say it's 7-2. I think Jackson's going to write her own dissent, in which she's going to say this isn't a Second Amendment case at all. I'm curious to see if Sotomayor would write a dissent saying that the Bruin test is wrong, and by wanting to look only at a national tradition, that you have to look at the tradition of the people that have lived in these places, maybe even before it was a state. I don't know that she would go out on that limb, but I for sure. But I don't know that she'd sign on to Jackson's dissent either, right? So she may sort of be forced to go out on her own and explain her own reasons for saying no, if she does. Because I don't know that Jackson's going to get a whole lot of support from the liberal wing of the court that this has nothing to do with our right to keep and bear arms.
No, she's not going to get any support, and I hope that the liberal wing in the minority in this decision, and it will be the minority, ladies and gentlemen, Hawaii will lose this case. I hope they're foolish enough to allow her to write the dissent. We'll be back with Cam right after this. We're going to take you to Virginia and answer your questions, guys.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-932-5197. 800-932-5197. That's 800-932-5197.
Patriots
listen up. If you're counting on the mainstream media to tell the truth about your gun rights, you're already losing. That's why I go daily to AmmoLand News, America's oldest Second Amendment news outlet. AmmoLand gives you the stories, the facts, and the real news the gun banners and freedom haters don't want you to know. Don't wait to get informed. Bookmark ammoland.com right now. That's ammoland.com, where freedom-loving Americans stay informed and in the fight. ammoland.com. Visit them today at ammoland.com. ammoland.com.
The revolutionary Crossbreed Super Tuck holster is the most comfortable and concealable inside the waistband holster you'll ever wear, and nothing even comes close. Designed to completely conceal a firearm of any size and made to be worn with any attire, from shorts and a t-shirt to a suit and a tie. Based on your personal carry style, the Super Tuck may be worn comfortably with or without your shirt tucked in. Find out why the Crossbreed Super Tuck is the most often imitated but never duplicated holster design in the world. Visit crossbreedholsters.com today.
Hi, it's Mark Walters, your host of Armed American Radio. If your company sells only the highest quality products and you're looking for a way to reach these listeners, you're talking to the right guy. Armed American Radio has a package available to fit every budget, from startup to the seasoned advertiser looking for that perfect way to reach this massive audience on roughly 250 stations in the top markets in the nation. We're everywhere, and the show continues to explode across the country after 10 years. Together, we can help you reach a highly engaged and extremely knowledgeable audience. To hear your brand on this huge radio program for less than you ever thought possible, and to speak directly with me, reach out to CCW Broadcast Media LLC right away at mark@armedamericanradio.org. mark@armedamericanradio.org. And together, we'll bring your brand to Armed American Radio listeners and keep this powerful voice for gun rights on the airwaves. Again, to speak directly to me, reach out to me at mark@armedamericanradio.org. That's mark@armedamericanradio.org. For over 150 years, the National Rifle Association has defended the freedoms that define America, standing for responsible gun ownership through education, training, and the unwavering right to protect what matters most. But those freedoms are never guaranteed. They must be defended. Join the millions of NRA members who have made the commitment to safeguard our rights now and for future generations. Go to nra.org/AAR to sign up today.
Car, the 25th anniversary K9 and the venerable P9 in various configurations. Magnum Research, the classic Desert Eagle available in 50, 44, 357, and the new 429 DE calibers. The BFR biggest, finest revolvers, and the Magnum Light. Auto Ordnance, the classics. Thompson, that's right, the Tommy gun, the incredible M1 carbine, and the one and only classic 1911. Car Firearms, a family of brands standing for your family's freedom.
For 50 years, the NRA Institute for Legislative Action has served as the voice for NRA members and gun owners in every significant political, legislative, and legal fight defending our right to keep and bear arms. Stay informed about efforts by anti-gun politicians to restrict your freedoms both nationally and in your state by visiting nraila.org. There, you can sign up to receive email alerts, volunteer, and much more. Visit nraila.org today. The following segment of Armed American Radio's Daily Defense is being brought to you by Patriot Mobile. Visit patriotmobile.com/AAR and use the AAR promo code to get free activation today. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the show. Time to take a sip of the Celsius. And this is that really crappy marshmallow one, Greg. You know, the one I was complaining about the other day?
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
It really is. And don't take a sip during the break. I did that intentionally just for you.
Yeah, of course you did.
Welcome back, guys. PatriotMobile.com. If you're watching on your devices or your TV sets, this is a Patriot Mobile activated phone. You can do the same thing. And again, if you're in Vegas, check out the Patriot Mobile booth. They're the real deal. They were up at the Gundies. They presented. They sponsored. Patriot Mobile wears the Second Amendment on their sleeve, just like I do, right on their corporate mission statement at patriotmobile.com/AAR. patriotmobile.com/AAR. Proud to support your Second Amendment rights. I can promise you Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T do not have booths at the Shooting, Hunting, and Outdoor Trade Show. Patriot Mobile does. Won't you please support them? We would appreciate it. They would appreciate it. You get great service. You saw what happened with Verizon last week. Nope. Patriot Mobile's got you covered. As long as there's towers up, you have cell service. And it's constantly switching, so you always get the strongest service no matter where you are. So you can trust that if you have children, they have service wherever they're at. And that's always nice to know. PatriotMobile.com. You can find them. You can also do some shopping over at BudsGunShop.com, GoatGuns.com, Crossbreed Holster. We got you covered. ArmedAmericanRadio.com. Cam Edwards, welcome back. Drive into Costco to get some toilet paper and all the stuff you get at Costco when you need Costco for storm preparation, brother. Welcome back. All right, let's go over to Virginia. I got a couple questions here. And the first one from Angelfish2529. How did Lobby Day go? Angelfish2529, I'm going to tell you right now, it was incredibly disappointing. 2,000 people maximum. Now, Cam, you're in Virginia. You're familiar with what happened back during the COVID era and the 2020 deal where there were 50, 60,000 people and the media berated us and said, that's not true. They sent their little drones out on side streets to show maybe 5,000. We all know that was a bunch of BS. But this was disappointing, and I want to analyze that turnout. I think it's important that we look at what happened. Why was there 2,000 people? There's a couple options here that we spoke about today on Cam and Company on your show. Number one, and I think this one, sadly, might be the most likely. The gun owners in Virginia have said that's it. We're toast. They have a supermajority. We can't do anything. I'm not taking myself to Richmond. I'll just fight from home. I'll join VCDL. I'll join NRA, Gun Owners of America. But it's just not worth my going out. And that reeks of it. The word we used was defeatism today on Cam and Company. And I kind of, the vast majority of my gut feel points me in that direction, Cam. I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think that probably is the attitude of a lot of Virginians, right? I mean, when you look 6 years ago when Democrats took complete control, it was, I think, a 2-seat majority in the House of Delegates. It was maybe a 1-vote majority in the state Senate, right? It was close. And there was a sense that, okay, if we can persuade, 1 or 2 rural Democrats to hold the line, then we can stop this gun ban bill. And don't forget, Ralph Northam, right after Democrats won statewide office and took back control of both chambers of the legislature, he said, we're going to pass a gun ban and we're going to get the guns, right? It wasn't even a grandfather clause. So that put gun owners on high alert. I think the numbers of Democrats, as you said, a supermajority in the House of Delegates now, and frankly, even the rural Democrats, Great Deed 6 years ago was one of those objecting to a ban on so-called assault weapons. He's writing a gun ban bill now, right? I mean,
if I'm not mistaken, Deeds wrote 2. If I'm not mistaken, Deeds has got 2 gun ban bills going on in the gun grabber bills, gun control bills. Am I right about that? I think he's got 2 he's sponsoring.
I think so. I know that he wrote the one that was approved and was vetoed by Governor Youngkin. And he's been, intimately involved in these discussions. So, we can't look to those rural Democrats to save us, unfortunately. And so I think that does harbor that belief that what's the point of showing up, right? I'll go to my county supervisor's meeting. At least I hope they're going to their county supervisor's meeting. But I'll get involved locally. But, it's not worth my time to go to Richmond. But I also think, too, that there are a number of gun owners who may not be aware of the threat because the Democrats learned their lesson from 6 years ago, right? Spanberger wasn't talking about we're going after these guns. She's been talking about we're going to make it affordability. That's the watchword. And then they introduced a bill to add $500 tax on the purchase of every suppressor, right? They want to make exercising your Second Amendment right as unaffordable as possible while they're talking about affordability. So a lot of these bills, unless you're paying attention to shows like yours, you're going to Ammo Land, you're going to Bearing Arms, you're a VCDL member, you may not be aware that a permit to purchase bill has been introduced. You may not be aware that a bill that would ban the possession of so-called assault weapons for adults under the age of 21 has been introduced. We know that some folks are paying attention because gun sales, from what I understand, are soaring right now in Virginia. But I think there are a lot of people who may not be, Second Amendment activists or even Second Amendment advocates. They're just gun owners. And they may still be absolutely clueless about the threat that is coming.
Boy, I hope you're wrong about that one. I really hope you're wrong about that one. And sadly, you may very well be right. The Democrats did learn a lot from 2020. And there are still more bills. What do we have? One more day for filing. Do you expect
23rd is the last 23rd? Day to file legislation.
So we have 2 days.
I haven't looked at I haven't looked at. The last time I took a look was last night, so I haven't seen if any bills got introduced today. We have not seen a Senate semi-auto ban bill. I think that's coming. Probably a Senate permit to purchase bill as well. It may look exactly like the House bills. I'm actually surprised we haven't seen more than one semi-auto ban bill because I figured there'd be actually competing versions. But again, this is probably all being worked out by Democrat leadership in the legislature, right? Very carefully scripted as to what they're going to do. So I think we've seen the bulk of these bills, but I do expect a couple of late additions here before Friday's deadline.
Yeah, the other thing too, it's highly likely, as you alluded to when you were on the program last week, that the Democrats were waiting until after the rally turnout. I think if they saw 60, 70, 80, 100,000 people show up, they're probably salivating right now. We got them.
Listen, 2,000 people, well above what we've seen, in recent years. But as you say, nowhere near what we saw the last time we had this existential threat, where Democrats were in complete control of state government.
That's what we needed. We needed that.
After a 20th, right? We did. We did.
needed it,
and we didn't get it. Although I will say, I think even maybe this is my defeatist attitude coming in. I think even if 50,000 people had shown up in downtown Richmond, I don't think it would have changed the Democratic agenda. I don't think it would have changed too many Democratic votes, if at all.
It wouldn't have.
Democrats are feeling empowered right now. They feel like, look, we swept. We have the biggest gains in the state House of Delegates in decades. I think they're feeling very emboldened right now. They feel like they've got a mandate.
Right.
Look what they're doing with redistricting, right? They're trying to go from a very competitive map. 4 years, by the way, after Virginia voters approved an amendment to the Constitution saying no politically gerrymandered maps. And now Democrats have changed their mind. Democrats were pushing for that amendment, by the way, until Glenn Youngkin got into office and Republicans had control of the legislature. They are they're so. This is not a moderate move. This is not the moves of a party that is too afraid of tacking to the left. They are trying to turn Virginia in the next couple of years into California, into New York, into New Jersey. That's what they're aiming for.
And ladies and gentlemen, they're likely going to be successful. And Cam, I appreciate. I sense your frustration. It's easy to get FCC unfriendly when you have this conversation. let me take us to the break with this. When we come back, I'll answer another question that popped up on the chat. I spoke with Phil Van Cleve over at Virginia Citizens Defense League this morning. He said, Mark, thanks for being in this fight and joining VCDL. We estimate that we had around 2,000 show up at our rally, much more than the antis had at theirs. Would I like to have more? Should we have had more? Sure. The people who show up are quality more than quantity. Unfortunately, that's not going to do the job right now. We'll be back. One more segment with Cam.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-932-5197. 800-932-5197. That's 800-932-5197.
You already know what Daniel Defense has done for the AR-style rifle. Now they've done it for the handgun, taking it to a whole new level. The revolutionary Daniel H9 combines the ergonomics and pointability of a 1911 with the easy shooting and maintenance of a striker-fired pistol. A low bore axis reduces recoil and muzzle flip, giving you faster, more accurate follow-up shots. To view the Daniel Defense Daniel H9, visit DanielDefense.com today. DanielDefense.com.
Attention firearms owners, the Attorneys on Retainer program is backed by the Attorneys for Freedom law firm, which is the nation's only law firm exclusively committed to self-defense cases. Along with local counsel, the firm is also accepting private self-defense cases nationwide. Have experienced self-defense attorneys ready to represent you anywhere in the nation. Visit attorneysonretainer.us and use promo code AAR to get $50 off your individual sign-up fee. Don't be unprepared for the fight in the courtroom.
Introducing the P9 Nocturne from CZ. Available in full-size 19-round and compact 15-round, this is the third generation of the popular polymer pistol series with the Omega single-action, double-action trigger mechanism. With its textured pattern for improved traction, the P9 is optics-ready with enhanced front cocking serrations, a slide stop designed for easier control, and improved ergonomics of ambidextrous decocker and manual safety. For more information and to take one home, visit czfirearms.com today.
The revolutionary Crossbreed Super Tuck holster is the most comfortable and concealable inside the waistband holster you'll ever wear, and nothing even comes close. Designed to completely conceal a firearm of any size and made to be worn with any attire, from shorts and a t-shirt to a suit and a tie. Based on your personal carry style, the Super Tuck may be worn comfortably with or without your shirt tucked in. Find out why the Crossbreed Super Tuck is the most often imitated but never duplicated holster design in the world. Visit crossbreedholsters.com today.
The Second Amendment Foundation has grown into what many believe to be the most important gun rights organization in America. With hundreds of thousands of active members, it is the Second Amendment Foundation defending your rights in courtrooms across the nation. Winning these battles in local jurisdictions all the way to the Supreme Court requires tireless effort and help from you. Please help the Second Amendment Foundation defend your freedoms by joining or donating today at saf.org. Join us at saf.org. Thank you.
Car, the 25th anniversary K9 and the venerable P9 in various configurations. Magnum Research, the classic Desert Eagle available in 50, 44, 357, and the new 429 DE calibers. The BFR biggest finest revolvers and the Magnum Light. Auto Ordnance, the classics. Thompson, that's right, the Tommy gun, the incredible M1 carbine, and the one and only classic 1911. Car Firearms, a family of brands standing for your family's freedom.
Gun owners across the country have become targets of frivolous lawsuits. At X Insurance, we provide custom firearm liability insurance to eliminate your exposure and to protect you from unscrupulous lawyers. And if lawsuits arise, we aggressively fight them. We're the best at what we do, and we've been doing it for more than 40 years. We offer same-day quotes and solutions. So call us today or have your agent call us, and let's get that target off your back. For more information, visit xinsurance.com.
This segment is brought to you by Attorneys on Retainer. Get the only self-defense program for gun owners backed by a real law firm, the Attorneys for Freedom. Visit them online at attorneysonretainer.us. Welcome back.
Yeah, guys, you hear me mention this every single day, and I'm going to mention it every single day. I could do hours and hours and hours of live radio about Attorneys on Retainer. When you're talking about a self-defense case, there is going to be an investigation. If you carry a gun, you had better have this in your wallet. I warn you every day. Do not be that person that said, golly, I heard him talk about it. I need to make that call because it's too late. Now everything you own is on the line. Everything. Your entire future. Your freedom. Your financial future. Your families. Don't let that happen. All right? For under $500 a year, you've got an attorney. That's less. That's about half of a good attorney's 1 hour fee. All right. You know how many hours it's going to take? A lot more than the $500. Less than $500 you will spend with Attorneys on Retainer. So please visit attorneysonretainer.us/AAR. Read the site. It's amazing. It's very well done. There's videos there. Watch the videos. Okay. It's enjoyable. You're going to learn a lot. And then sign up for $37 a month. You're going to save $25 off the sign-up fee over there by doing that, and you will sleep so much better at night, I promise you. My kids have it, I have it, my wife has it, my parents have it, some of my neighbors, just about everybody I know now. This is the real deal. And February 18th through the 23rd, I'll be out in Phoenix at their event, and I'll be broadcasting this show and the Sunday Monster Cast from the Mesa Convention Center and possibly the studios, the Patriot Salem studios on the Sunday show. Either way, we will, at the very least, be at the Attorneys on Retainer office, bringing you 2 days of live daily radio. Please visit them, join them, and all of our great partners at armedamericanradio.com. Cam Edwards, one more segment with you, brother. Welcome back, man. Thanks for being here. I know how busy you are. I'm going to be a little bit doing the same thing later, just a little bit later this afternoon as well. Just now, I'm not in as much diet.
Thanks for, I was going to say, man, thanks for keeping me company while I trek out to Costco. So.
Well, thanks for keeping us company. We love it. Okay, so we did Cam and Company today. When does it go up? Is it up already?
It is up already. Yeah, it generally goes up mid-afternoon, like 1 o'clock Eastern or so. Yeah.
Okay, so guys, you can watch myself and Cam together having a great conversation as we always do on Cam and Company over at townhall.com. You can check it out at Bearing Arms. Make sure to do that. We always have a lot of fun together. Cam and I, the two of us, fellow board members at the Citizens Committee, are not at SHOT Show this week, which is very unusual. And here we are. Does it feel strange to you, Cam?
It does feel a little strange. I have to say, my feet are thanking me because, man, there's so much walking. I've been enjoying Costas Morris's posts on X. This is his first time at SHOT Show, and it's always fun to see, somebody take it in for the very first time. But hopefully, I'll be back there next year. Yeah, add some. It really is. It really is. I've learned. It was easy when I was doing a show like Cam and Company, and that was all I had to do. Right? I had to be in one place. I sat there for 3 hours. I had guests brought to me. Man, trying to cover SHOT Show for Bearing Arms and trying to write stories while you're trying to walk the show, it's impossible. I still haven't figured out how I'm supposed to do it. So in that respect, I think my life is a little bit easier being at home this week. I can sit at my desk and write my posts instead of trying to do 18 things at once.
Yeah, I guess with me, I guess I miss taking thousands of selfies, except I don't miss taking thousands of selfies. There's always that, but nonetheless, it is a weird feeling to not be there for the first time in 26 years. 26 years, man, it's crazy. That's okay. We'll likely be out there again next year, guys. But I really don't think you care where we bring you the show from, to be honest with you. We found that to be the case over the years. Cam, Virginia, gone, done. We agree, sadly.
Unless the court save us, absolutely, yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
and that's exactly where I was going with this, because that's what we're dependent on right now. Ladies and gentlemen, elections have consequences, and if we lose the elections like we did, and let's face facts, let's be honest, we lost the elections in Virginia overwhelmingly so. And you did point out the real key here that the Democrats are taking to the bank. And I guess I can't say they can't, because they're acting as if they have a mandate. I'm going to guess they do have a mandate based on the overwhelming victory in Virginia. Now, I do want to point out that the Senate is still only a two-seat majority, but there is a different geopolitical layout in Virginia now than there was a number of years ago with the same two-seat majority, right? Because now we're not going to get anybody to flip like we just talked about Deeds. We could have. And the Democrats knew that. That's not going to be the case this time. So when you predict a Californication of Virginia, which I have already predicted and you have as well, what does the future look like? What does it look like down the road?
I think you have to look at California. You have to look at New Jersey, right? These are states that have very low rates of gun ownership because people have decided it's not worth the hassle. I can't afford it, right? But we know that people who otherwise would be exercising their right to keep their arms are not because of the laws that are in place. And it's not because they're violent criminals. It's not because they're prohibited persons. It's because the law is so difficult to comply with that it's again, for a lot of people, it's just not going to be worth it. I think we're going to see Virginia gun owners move out of state. I have said that if it weren't for my youngest kids still being at home, I'd be looking at real estate in West Virginia right now. And I love where I live, Mark. I love it. I mean, I've got family buried there. This was supposed to be my forever home. And I'm now thinking maybe it's not. And that's a sad, scary place to be.
That really is a sad, scary place. And you and I did touch on this on Cam and Company as well. I'm very well aware of some friends of mine. As you know, I have friends and family in Virginia on a long history, guys. And they have thrown their hands up. They said, I don't care anymore. I don't watch it. I don't pay any attention to him anymore. I'm going to live my life. They don't have the moral authority to tell me what to do. I'm not paying attention to anything that they do. I am living my life, period. And I think the red line has been drawn in Virginia. And I think many, many, many Virginians who can't leave or refuse to leave for whatever reason, I think that's their tack. That's the way they're tackling this, Cam. They have to.
Yeah, I think you're right. And, I think that speaks to the importance of the Second Amendment sanctuary movement. And, if you didn't show up at Rally Day, again, you got to show up at your county supervisors meeting. You got to talk to your county sheriff, your Commonwealth's attorney. You got to, demand that they take a stand in defense of our right to keep and bear arms. And they won't be able to stop every bad law, but they do have the ability to say, listen, we're not going to make, gun and magazine bans an enforcement priority, right? We're not going to go after somebody for simply possessing a firearm that they lawfully purchased. And as far as I know, there have been one, maybe two sheriffs that have drawn that line in the sand. We need to see dozens more stand up and speak out.
It's flat out not enough, Cam. All right, where can people find you, brother? We're getting ready to go, and I'll let you go do your shopping for your emergency supplies.
I am literally about to pull into the parking lot. BearingArms.com is the place. You can also find us on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, all the major podcast platforms. And Mark, always love talking with you, whether it's on my show or your show. Thank you so much for what you're doing, and thanks for the invite.
Thank you, Cam, for being here. Thank you for taking time out of what's a very busy day. I appreciate it very much. Thanks for the invite this morning on Cam and Company. Guys, make sure to go watch Cam and Company today. You can find it at BearingArms.com. You can find it over at Town Hall. Cam Edwards is the real deal. I love having him on. Sadly, guys, he's right. Virginia is now reliant in the future, after this debacle is over in Virginia, and it's going to be years from now, on the court system to fix the problems that the Democrats are throwing at Virginia. And guys, the moral of the story is this is what they want for you if they ever gain the trifecta of power in Washington, D.C. Stay aware. Stay aware. Join the NRA and every other group. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. We'll see you on the radio tomorrow.
You just filled your prescription for freedom with Mark Walters, presented by the National Rifle Association. The National Rifle Association on the Armed American Radio Network.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm excited to announce my new product, My Slippers. They took me over 2 years to develop because I didn't want just an ordinary slipper. My slippers are meant to be worn all day long, no matter what you're doing, whether you're inside or outside. My slippers come with an exclusive 3-tier cushioning system that you won't find in any other slipper. It combines 2 layers of foam, including my proprietary My Pillow foam and a patented impact shell made from U.S. soybeans. My 3-tier cushioning system is going to help relieve pressure points, provide that micro support you need for all-day comfort, and help prevent fatigue. Not only that, my slippers are made with high-quality leather and a premium indoor-outdoor sole that make them extremely